man. Thank you so much for listening to the Cooligans. In the first segment, we get really Cuban. Oye, chico, aquí estamos, coño. We talk about Miami finally has a team, the Cuban Sandwiches FC. It's probably not called that. David Beckham and a bunch of other Hispanics put together a team in Miami. That's absolutely amazing. We also talk about Zlatan. Is he going? It looks like it's almost completely done.
All right. And in the second segment, we get very, very serious about American soccer. Is this a comedy podcast? Well, who knows anymore? It should be on NPR. This episode specifically should be on NPR. It's a very interesting episode. But we respond to a fan email. Also, Jack Harrison, baby Jack, officially gone. We're trying to cope. Justin Merrim trying to get out of Columbus. He's in nice and warm Orlando, the Lion with, and we have a real emoji racial issue.
But what's up with them hands?
All this and more today on the Cooligans!
Hey guys, this is Tommy McNamara from New York City FC, and you're listening to the Cooligans. Enjoy.
Hey, the episode's about to start. We just want to take a break real quick to talk about a company that helped us out quite a bit, Mike's Hot Honey. If you don't know what we're talking about, it's because we're going to talk about it in a second, but you should be watching the video right now that we have on our YouTube that just released this morning if you're listening to this on Wednesday, where Christian and I take Tommy McNamara of NYCFC to go eat pizza. At one of the pizza shops, we eat Mike's Hot Honey. Mike found out about it, and he wanted to have us mention his name on the show and in the video, and we love it. It's a great product. Christian, that was the first time you tried it.
I never had honey. I'm not a big honey guy, you know.
Yeah.
But it's like it's honey with a little spice.
Yeah, we'll tell you, it's a hot honey.
Yeah.
I think that's the most important. Yeah, it's honey infused with chilies.
Yeah.
It was invented in a Brooklyn pizza shop, and it's something that a lot of people are putting on specific pizzas. Watch the video and you'll see exactly what we're talking about. But the stuff's incredible. I have a bottle of it at home, and I literally am down to like the last 2% of it. And Mike, I need more, but I guess I should go buy it, right? But if you look at the description of that video, you'll see a link onto where you can go get it. You go to mikeshothoney.com. You can buy some of this stuff. It comes in so many different sizes. You can get little packets of it if you want to take it with you, which is what I do when I go on the road. This stuff is absolutely amazing, and you're going to find a lot of uses for it. You know what I had it on the other night?
Wow.
Got myself a little fried pork chop, right? Little
Sure.
breaded and fried.
You didn't have to say the fried part.
Yeah, you figured it out, right? A little chuleta, but it's fried and panesao, right? And I put on top of that a little bit of Mike's Hot Honey. Oh my God.
All right, sounds delicious.
So good.
It was great. Yeah, so I highly recommend it. And you'll hear on the video on the show, I'm not a big fan of eating.
No, and trust me, he loved Mike's Hot Honey. So you need to go to mikeshothoney.com and go buy yourself some. And also, while you're at it, watch the video and watch us enjoy it as we eat it. You can find that on youtube.com/soccercooligans. Yeah, baby!
Yeah! Come on! The Cooligans are back.
That's right.
Back in the studio, back in the Hackensack Meridian Health Stage 17. We were bumped by who?
By some I don't know,
Sting and Shaggy.
Amigos. I mean, get out of our space. You know?
They should know better. Welcome back. Welcome to the show. Yes, we were not in stage 17.
No, we were not
last week because of Grammy week, but we still had a very good time.
Yeah, we did. We had a great time.
Yeah, we were in one of the radio stations,
one of those regular radio studio stations,
and
which is just not our steez.
Yes,
you know?
I mean, look, the we've already been used to a particular standard.
Yeah.
It's like if we ever leave the studio, it's almost like we're gonna need alimony. You
right.
know?
Also, what am I supposed to do without all this space? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got a large wingspan.
Right. We have one camera on us. Like, dog, it says in our contract we need 3. Okay.
That's yes.
Mike can't switch to this one just yet, but I promise you, I'm looking at one right over here as well. And there's one over there that's on Christian. Like, come on, one camera on us.
Yeah. So again, we mentioned last week, and a lot of new listeners may have not known about it, but the OG Podcast Network, where the Cooligans are officially a part of the network. How exciting is this? Things are moving. Things are bumping around. We're going everywhere.
Yeah, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say people were shocked to hear promos of other shows within our show.
Yeah,
they were just like stunned. Like, who is this? A random white woman's voice just on the show.
Also, how does the middle of a podcast get hacked? It was odd. It was odd for us to have something in front of. Normally, when people click play, it should be either me or Christian yelling,
just screaming, yeah,
just talking as fast as we can.
But now we ease you into our screaming
with some pretty terrible music. Just to bring you right in.
Well, I mean, look, everybody's not a fan of it. Clearly, Alexis is not.
Whatever. Look, I love being on the OG Podcast Network. I'm glad that it's officially launched because we were talking so much about like this whole new thing, and we're in the studio, and people are like, "Are you guys paying for that studio?" No, because if we did, we'd be in here for about 12 seconds, and then we have a GoFundMe to pay for those 12 seconds. But happy to be there, and happy to be back in the Hackensack Meridian Health Stage 17.
Exactly. So, I mean, soccer in itself has. I feel like when the off season, once the playoffs came around, I feel like it almost seems like playoff time is almost more dull than off season time. You know what I mean? Where there's like not as much kind of going on because
you rank them. You go hot stove, right? We go off season, and then you go playoffs. And then you go regular season.
But, I mean, this offseason has been pretty nuts.
It's been wild.
It's been, globally for soccer. And you know what? Even people complain about the schedule that we have. For
the Cooligans schedule,
our particular.
Why aren't they awake?
You can look at my calendar on my phone. It's real. I mean, it's crazy.
my wife is certainly complaining. It's like nothing's gotten done in the house. He has no spots until
the
8.
American soccer calendar. Is what I'm referring to.
Sure.
So people complain about it, but it's starting to have a large effect on the rest of the world with Europe, South America, whatever. So as I'm saying, it's like it's causing this ripple effect where the off season for Major League Soccer is as exciting and causes a stir even in other countries.
Well, like they say, like soccer's never really over. There really is no off season because as soon as like the Premier League is done and the La Liga and Ligue 1, right?
Yeah.
It basically just like all the transfers start from that point on and who's going to sign who. You're never really done. You know what I mean? MLS in the past ended at some point. You know what I mean? Like nothing happened. You know what I mean?
We're going to take a little quick nappy nap.
Ain't nobody buying nobody, but now
there's a lot going on. So
Arthur Blank picks up a stack of cash and he's like, get him. And they're like, sir, you're not talking to anyone. And then he puts it down. You realize that's just his case. His case on his
case
iPhone
is a stack
X
of
It's just a rack. He cuts into $1,000.
His case is a stack of iPhone X's.
He uses iPhone X's to protect his iPhone X.
iPhone X. I mean, look.
That's just the money he got.
Some people can live that kind of lifestyle. We cannot, but one day we'll try to get
flexing. There. We're just watching. We're watching him flex on everybody.
So we're gonna get to a lot of that stuff. We do want to make a couple little just announcements just before we start this show. Right now, as you're listening to this, make sure that you support SeatGeek because SeatGeek
is huge,
supporting us and so they're supporting the Cooligans. If you wanna go to a game, you wanna go to a concert, any live event,
just get their app.
Get the app. Get the
SeatGeek. It's so easy.
Get the SeatGeek app. $20 off your first purchase if you use the promo code Cooligans. And I don't have it queued up correctly, but here we go.
Uh-oh.
There you go.
There it is. SeatGeek. You get $20 off your first order and the official ticket partner of MLS. So come on.
Do the right thing. So let's get to the show.
And by the way, for doing that, it helps us out. So just go do that.
Please do it. So the one thing we want to make sure we tell everybody about before we get the show started is Tommy McNamara.
Oh, my God.
We took Tommy McNamara to go get pizza. And
it's as fabulous as it sounds, okay?
It is.
I've waited my entire life to eat pizza with a professional soccer player. Just merging those two worlds together. It's what I enjoy watching and what I enjoy doing, and it was merged together.
I mean, Alexis, it was like watching a Make-A-Wish kid.
Yeah.
His dream come true. So I mean, he was very, very happy, proud of himself. I was proud of him too. Yeah. He really look. Everyone is gonna see how much Alexis really knows about pizza.
And also, remember that kid in the hospital bed who told like Babe Ruth, "I want 2 home runs." Remember that? That was like me. I was sitting in a booth going, "Give me 2 slices." It was amazing.
Sure, yeah, and it inspired Tommy to get a hat trick or something like that.
Yeah, to eat more pizza than he probably should have. So mind you, for all the fans of Tommy McNamara, this was shot before the season started or the preseason started. So
yeah, so
he's worked this off already.
Yeah, I mean, he did eat a lot of pizza.
That was all CGI.
Just Tommy Mac shows up to training camp with the Henrik Mkhitaryan beer belly. Like, oh, okay, wow, the Cooligans are responsible for this.
No one hang out with the Cooligans within a month of preseason, please.
But I wanted to play a video of a little quick clip of it. So this is available right now. Go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/soccercooligans.
First thing you do is subscribe and then watch the video.
Exactly. Look, if you want more things like this to happen, subscribe, support it, watch it, share it with your friends.
Tell your friends, steal their phones and subscribe from their phones.
Your soccer friends, your pizza friends.
All of them. And if you don't have a division of friends that you consider your pizza friends, you ain't living right.
You ain't got no friends if you don't got pizza friends.
He's a soccer friend. He's definitely not a pizza friend.
I'm not a pizza friend.
He's 100% not a pizza friend. He might actually be a pizza enemy.
Yeah, I did everything in my power to not make this video happen, and somehow through Alexis's will and love of pizza, I could not stop him.
Sheer determination.
All right, so let's play this quick clip of.
We are in Lombardi's Pizzeria. Have you been to Lombardi's before? You're a New York guy.
I know, I've heard of it, of course, but
Never been.
Never made it.
Right. We're the first people to take Tommy to the first pizzeria.
You're also taking me because I've never been here.
You've never been either? Well, no one asked you, Christian.
First time.
How do you normally get your pizza? Do you have like a normal, do you go plain, you go topping?
It depends. Depends on the mood I'm in.
Okay.
You know, generally plain.
All right.
I didn't get a pie, but I don't know. Sometimes I like to change it up. Get like a little chicken bacon ranch.
Okay. He said the word ranch. I'm a little upset about that. but I respect it. I respect it. It's whatever you want on a pizza.
Crazy, you know?
Right now, we're going to edit in tears coming down. At least you don't put pineapple on a pizza, though, right?
Sometimes.
Would you go pineapple and ranch?
No.
All right, good. At least.
Yeah, you're not a savage.
At least there's that. Yeah.
So that's it.
Yeah.
Tommy Mac admitting that
breaking my heart
that he puts ranch and sometimes pineapple on pizza. And really, I mean, this could have derailed the entire project.
I almost called it right there. I was almost like, let's just.
I cannot work under these conditions.
Yeah. I just rip the NYCFC badge off my jersey. I immediately put on a Red Bulls jersey. I switched teams.
It's just that was the last straw. No, but look,
my wife is on the podcast the next week. He's like, he hasn't stopped crying since.
But no, that was I think that was the purpose of this video because I think you put Tommy on the right track. I honestly, I don't think that's gonna happen again. And when you see the video, you'll see. I mean, we teased him a little bit about it, but
and for people saying like, "Yo, Lombardi's is trash. It's tourist pizza." Watch.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that because we put up a clip of the video, and look, this is what happens when as soon as you're on top. That's it.
You talk about pizza, people start coming. They're shooting for you.
That's it. The shooters, the pizza shooters are coming after you. All right,
and they're out and about, my friend. And they got their eyes peeled to the tweets.
They wearing camouflage makeup, like they're popping up everywhere, man.
So you better be avatars.
I'm just saying, look, after you watch this video, you're gonna really see how much Alexis knows about pizza. But and this is just a message to Alexis, man. Get ready because they're coming.
Can I just say something right now? If you guys are listening, I was born ready. So come at me. At me as many times as you want. Your boy responds.
Yo, man. Yeah. I saw some of the
Shingardian got it.
I saw some
Shingardian got it.
I saw some of the mentions. I was like, oh, but every time I see a pizza mention on like at the Cooligans, I'm like, oh boy. I literally, if I could have a monitor, like an app that monitors your blood pressure, like when pizza is spoken about and tweeted at you about, I'm like, oh my God, I got it. So is Alexis okay?
Yeah.
It's like, have you seen,
like the battery percentage is actively going down.
Have you seen Black Mirror? Have you seen the newest season?
I haven't seen the newest season.
There's sort of an episode about that, about
about pizza?
About pizza.
Oh my God. Imagine I just, hold on. I come back an hour later. Great episode.
How pizza can like destroy a culture and society. This is a nightmare. Yeah. I cannot watch this episode.
I'm crying.
Canceling your Netflix subscription.
I have a pizza blanket that I just pull up real close to my face because I can't. No,
it's sort of about like monitoring people, like being able to monitor people. So that was just reminding me of that. Anyway, I don't want to spoil anything. Watch.
But just look, if you disagree with something I said, one, that means you're wrong, and two, come at me. I'll explain it to you.
That's right.
And just like I said to one dude, I was like, if you're gonna at me, you better come with data. I'm not gonna tell you where I agree with you or not, but Joe, don't tell me something sucks without telling me why. And he even gave me some like fugazi answers as to why he didn't like it, but whatever.
Yeah.
And he also took like 30 minutes, so you know your boy Googled it.
It's interesting. Pizza is the only subject that Alexis can use data to actually discuss anything about. Everything else is just pure, just loudness.
Just emotion. I feel like if you yell loud enough, you're right. You know, but when it comes to pizza, I'm relaxed.
Yeah, very, very. Okay, so make sure, again, watch that video, subscribe to our YouTube channel. And
also, before we forget, thank you to Mike's Hot Honey.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's referenced in the video, so you got to watch it. But shouts to Mike Kurtz and Mike's Hot Honey. We'll have a link in there. There's a link in the description of where you can buy Mike's Hot Honey if you've never had it. You don't know what you're missing, and that's me. I'm a pizza purist.
You know what? And I hadn't had Mike's Hot Honey, and we put it on a pizza, and I was absolutely stunned too. I did not think the idea of honey on a pizza sounds ridiculous to me.
It sounds insane.
But when
I'll be the first to admit it, I was like, I'm never doing that. And then I did. I was like, I'm forever doing that.
It's absolutely delicious. And look, and I hate food, so
yeah.
I mean, you got to trust me.
Wow, that's that's probably the greatest promo they'll ever have. But what I want you to know is that under certain circumstances, it's all covered in the video. You got to watch it. If you don't know what we're talking about, you got to watch the video. Please watch it right now after you're done with this episode.
Pause this right now.
Yeah, pause this. Go watch that. At least 30 seconds. Get us that view, and then come back to this episode.
Exactly. Okay. So now off to the soccer. All right. So like we were mentioning up top, off season crazy. Everything's going on, but really the biggest news, especially we're recording this on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Monday. I mean, Monday mornings are usually dull. I mean,
nothing happened on a Monday morning.
Case of the Mondays, you know, but not for Becks.
No.
Okay, not in Miami.
Beckham's like, I'm about to shake up your Monday. All you Garfields out there who hate Mondays,
okay,
check this out.
Put that pasta down.
yeah. Forget that lasagna. I think I'm maybe mixing up two cats.
No, lasagna. Is lasagna considered pasta?
Yeah, it is. It has pasta in it.
Okay,
but wasn't there two cats? One of them hated Mondays. Was Garfield the
Garfield hated Mondays and loved lasagna.
Okay, well then I'm all about Garfield.
Okay. I'm trying to think of this other cat you're talking about.
There's another cat.
I mean, there's plenty of cats.
But there's another cartoon cat.
Yeah.
That also spoke to.
I have a cat on my shirt.
Look at that.
Look at this.
What does that have to do with anything?
Nothing. We're just talking about cats.
We're talking about cats, baby.
I have a cool looking. I got a hipster cat.
This is great for everyone listening to the podcast right now going, oh, really? There's a cat on your shirt.
I feel like I'm describing it pretty well. So
you're painting him. You're explaining a movie right now.
But in Miami, yes, David Beckham officially. I mean, after how long? How long did it take?
We've been talking about Beckham United for what?
I mean,
2 years?
2 years.
2 years at least.
Doing this, yeah.
And it almost fell apart. They actually admitted it during it. Marcelo Claude came up and he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna be honest with you." And Garber was like, "Don't do it, Marcelo."
I can't even believe we're here. I actually think they might shut the lights off right now. Yeah. I think we haven't crossed those T's and dotted those I's.
He's like, "I got an Uber X outside just waiting, man. I'm just collecting numbers right now." Like, I can't believe that this actually happened. Now, part of me doesn't know why it was really announced today or yesterday. I mean, I guess Monday. Why was it announced now?
I think they look. I think
I think this is to put pressure on Sacramento. Because there's only one more spot now. Now there's only one spot left.
No.
For a franchise. Yeah, it's either Cincinnati or
no. It's going to be 28. That's the goal of 28 teams. So Miami will be the 24th team.
No, LAFC is the 24th.
No, LAFC is the 23rd.
You sure?
Positive. Right now we have 20. We have an odd number of teams, which is like causing an issue, right? Which is that the reason.
Well, we've had odd numbers of teams.
Yeah. But I mean, for the schedule, what it's going to do is going to create a bye week for every single team, whatever. So, but the LAFC is the 23rd. I guess Nashville is going to be probably, in order of when the teams are actually going to start playing, probably Nashville will be first.
Right.
Then, or maybe Miami and Nashville will come in the same year in 2020. My guess.
Could be.
So that's 25. So there's 3 spots left.
Okay. So then foreseeably it could be. We don't know which network, which market's going to pop up next because Cincinnati came out of nowhere.
Sure.
But then it's Cincinnati, I could see
Just all of a
Sacramento.
sudden, there's like Gainesville just picks up a lot of steam.
Out of nowhere. Opelika wants a team. Opelika, Florida.
Hey, look, I mean, they can get 70,000 to a game. I mean, I guess we got to give them
That's
one.
their population, but everybody wants to go. What are you going to do?
I've never heard of the Opelika, but it sounds like a great
It's
place
the
to
hood
live.
of Miami. Shouts to Opelika, shouts to Liberty City, shouts to Carroll City. Bang, bang, a little Haiti.
Okay, well, let's not. Do we need the bang bang?
Yeah. Did we need it? They don't need it for sure. There's enough.
But no, I mean, I don't know the answer to that question. Why did they announce it? I think it's like
Because the team name hasn't been figured
I
out
think
yet.
it's gotten to a point where it's been so long they're just like we gotta. It's like a blue balls of a team announcement.
Right,
We're just like we gotta get it out.
I mean,
I don't know how. I don't know when.
Name. I'll put on a tissue, a napkin.
This was a nocturnal emission
Yeah. Oh,
of
God.
MLS announcement. It just had to happen because it had been so long.
The
you know?
cleanest way you could have said it, it was still so very dirty. God, if you would have said it the disgusting way, I would not have been shocked by it. Nocturnal emission.
It's a classy show. You know?
Nocturnal emission.
But look,
The one doctor who listens to us is like, that's correct.
look, I think it had been long enough. I mean, David, how the sigh of relief on everyone on that stage was just like, oh my God. Like I just imagine all the stuff that they went through because they had to deal with everyone talking about how it would never happen.
Never happened.
Us constantly making jokes about it.
We swore it would never happen.
We showed no support whatsoever.
No. We didn't believe in any of you. I want you to know
It's
that.
very clear.
Yeah.
You surprised us all.
Yeah. You actively put dirt on us, like on our face. What is that called? Mud on our face.
Mud on our face.
Yeah, for sure. We didn't think this was gonna happen. We still don't believe it's gonna happen.
But
I also want to say shouts to the fans. They filled the place up.
The Southern Legion. Yeah, and it was pretty cool to see that. Like, and just hearing all those little anecdotes about the thousands of emails they were sending to like the mayor, and the ownership group of like you got to make this happen. And I mean, it was probably about a decade of this campaigning from the fans,
which was great
to make this happen. So you see something like that, and you can't help but be happy for the team, for the city. Look,
just knowing Miami though, is anyone going to show up?
Yeah, that's really the next step. It's just like the
sorry guys,
the giant mountain is like, how are you going to get people excited about soccer in Miami?
How are you going to get people excited about sports?
Excited about leaving their homes?
Yeah, how are you going to get anyone excited for getting anywhere on time? It's a city filled with Cuban people. It's never going to happen.
So, but I did like that there were a lot of Cubans on stage. There was a lot of a specific outreach.
Listen, I tweeted it.
Yeah,
I said, someone better reference Fidel or communism or tyranny or how he wouldn't have allowed us to do it. It is the single most Cuban thing you can do. Any conversation. You're having dinner. You know, Fidel wouldn't let us have turkey. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you're supposed to do. And I was like, man, it's not going to happen. And then Jorge Mas comes up on stage and he's like, oye, mi gente. And I was like, here we go. And he goes, my family came here. And I'm like, no.
Yeah,
and then he goes, and we left tyranny. I was like, yeah.
I mean, this is.
I called my mom. I said, Mama, we made it. Like, this is the biggest moment the biggest Cuban moment in soccer history because Cubans don't play soccer. So, like, this is it. This is the most Cuban soccer has ever been.
It is, but
it is amazing.
Even hearing him say that stuff is very. Look, I didn't grow up in a Cuban household, but I can imagine it's one of those like, oh, here you go. Here's grandma again talking about Cuba. Like,
never lets it go.
We should appreciate this and that.
Yeah. It's like if like you're the kids like who survived like the Kosovo War. You're like, we get it. You had to hide under your bed.
Yeah,
like,
you're detached because you didn't experience it.
It's
but,
just too much guilt.
But it's always people reminding you that.
But at this point, it's like it's so far gone that it's cool now. You know, like. You reference it almost in jest. It's like ironic.
There have a lot of been, cool movies about it.
A lot of great movies about it. But it's imagine like, I don't know, like, Washington Heights had a team. And everyone's coming up like, this is amazing for the neighborhood of Washington Heights, New York. And then one guy gets up and he's like, que lo que. You'd be like, ah!
I would lose my mind.
You would go ballistic.
I'm like, that's my uncle. I don't know if he is or isn't, but he is now.
He is now. Jorge Mas, you're invited to dinner at my house whenever you want. I don't know who you are, but goddamn it, I love you.
But it was fun watching it, and it has been interesting because we've been trying to like be more conscious of these events, these moments, and like live tweet them.
Yeah, for sure.
And have more fun with it. And it's even for me on a personal level, it's changed my experience with specifically Twitter, where I really feel way more like Twitter as a stand-up comic exclusively. Twitter was just like I want to make some jokes here and there.
It's a live notebook for us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But with soccer Twitter, it is way more of a forum. It is way more of a conversation.
It's an engaged version of Twitter that's so different.
And
for
again,
us.
there's a lot of toxic stuff on Twitter.
Sure, we'll get to that a little later.
There's a lot of issues, but I would have to say for the most part, the good outweighs the bad when it comes to soccer Twitter, and we were having a lot of fun with it. And it was cool to. It was one of those things where I wish, like, when I went to my personal Twitter account, there was a bit more. Yeah, because these moments are huge, and maybe in like 15 years they might be more part of like just the general culture
or a pop culture sense.
Yeah, but this was I think an iconic moment, and it felt that way to the people who care about it the most.
For sure. And I want to say this to all of our fans. I know we talk about us, we're, comedians, and our job is to be funny, and we totally believe that, and we try to give you guys something fun about any situation. Sometimes, our jokes don't always come across as lighthearted and whatnot, but they always are. They're always meant to just poke fun and be, insert some levity into the world of soccer, which doesn't always have it. But I want to know that nothing makes us happier than when our fans like tag our jokes or add stuff to themselves, like add others like bits to the like reply. We love that. Like I grew up a big fan of Ron and Fez, which was a radio show. They would come up with like 3 or 4 puns, and then the phones would just light up. And I know, like, later on in life, I realized some of those were, like, comedians that were paid to call in or were writers that were calling from the other room. But, like, they inspired the fans to come up with, like, their own jokes. I love that. I love that so much. So, like, shouts to all of our fans that are actively, like, seeing what we do. And they're hilarious.
And I think more than anything, when people mention, like, serious stuff to us, I know I kind of gloss over it. I'm like, well, I'm not going to entertain this debate because there's no way I don't know what to contribute here.
But when it comes serious,
when it comes to funny, when it comes to jokes, I mean, then now we can get in the ring together. And a lot of props to there's a lot of fans who are like really, really funny.
Yeah, Jay Riddle, hilarious.
Riddle's hilarious. Your boy SoCal Andrew.
Oh, SoCal out there getting a tan.
But a couple others. I don't know his name because it's not listed, but Soccer Observation.
Soccer Observer.
I don't know. I forgot the exact handle. I think it's Soccer Observer. I could be wrong. Very funny.
Yeah. Also, that tweet that we loved, the Kevin Durant.
The Kevin Durant one was great. There's another. I think his name is Adam Mulligan.
Adam Mulligan constantly tweeting us. We love that.
At 5 Stripe Stunner.
Yeah.
Super funny.
Kelly Francis always comes up with funny stuff.
Yeah. Have a great time. So more of that.
More.
We love the jokes.
Yeah, even Sofiane Benzaza, sometimes I have to hit the translate button for that dude because he's all French and whatever. But like, this is what we want. We want to build this community of people that are actively tweeting at us, with us, and just not against us. That's all.
We don't need any more enemies.
We get it, guys.
And this was cool. So we were, as we were tweeting and stuff, MLS, they were compiling all the like moments from a Twitter moment.
Yeah.
And one of them,
one of ours
got picked up.
Yeah.
It's coming up there, but this is if you're listening to this, we're playing a video of a couple of the tweets that were.
So watch it on YouTube after you watch the Tommy Mac video.
Exactly, but the tweet that MLS picked up, which is very nice, it's just Twitter and it's just social media. It's not supposed to be
right there.
So this was it was a GIF of David Beckham and
just running his fingers through his own hair and staring at the camera in a way that says, "Call me Posh Vice."
So it's just David Beckham. The tweet was David Beckham would be the most tatted up team owner in the world.
Yeah,
which is like silly or whatever because I think
very funny.
I think there were better tweets that they could have, but they might have not been as safe to put.
They probably weren't as friendly for the entire fan base.
So that was cool of them to do that. And again, it's just like a Twitter thing, but
But you put that one out, which was awesome because like I was just tweeting up a storm. I would not go.
Yeah, you were doing all Cuban stuff. And
I was doing very Cuban stuff, but you were like, how about something for the fans that don't speak Spanish? I'm like, all right, you can take care of that. But I was going nuts because this is my moment as a Cuban soccer fan. This is literally my moment. And I've said this before. I'm a massive NYCFC fan. I will probably wear whatever they call this team just for the culture, especially if I go to Miami. I'll rock it just because it's like there's Cubans involved. There's also a Bolivian dude. I mean, come on now. You know, when was the last time that was a positive? Like, this is great for soccer. But
yeah, I don't think I've ever met a Bolivian person.
Oh no,
I gotta be honest. I don't know.
All right, well,
maybe they hide amongst us very well.
You're not buying weight. You're not buying weight of coke. Well, I put like you put he's the most tatted up owner, and then I replied with Arthur Blank removes his shirt, completely covered torso, covered in Yakuza tats. And we put like, okay, second, sorry. Which I would love.
I would not be surprised.
Imagine he just rips his shirt up and he's completely covered in tats.
Yeah. So that was cool. And it was, and thank you, Major League Soccer, for doing that. It was very nice. But so let's get out of Miami and let's go to Los Angeles.
Oh, baby, from the sun to more sun.
Because again, the rumor
this will not go away.
The rumor that will not die. Zlatan Ibrahimovic. I mean, look, it's Taylor Twellman tweeted out. He was like, "I hear this is happening. I feel like the deal is getting done."
Wow.
And there was also this level of certainty last offseason.
Yeah.
And then
This is the new Beckham United. It'll never happen. It'll happen.
It's gonna take 4 years.
Yeah.
He's finally gonna join when he's like 42.
Yeah.
But no, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, according to reports, I think they're very close. Manchester United most likely gonna let him go, especially.
Well, Mourinho said
that
he won't stop him from signing a new deal elsewhere.
And they don't really need him. They got Alexis Sanchez, your boy. Your favorite, the one that you spoke so glowingly of last week.
He is the Dominoes of soccer players.
Wow. Okay. It was one little.
A lot of you think he's good.
One little transfer.
That's it.
And
that break my heart. Wear my name on someone else's shirt.
But Zlatan Ibrahimovic to LA Galaxy. Do you think he has anything left? What are you even? If this would have happened last year, it would have felt very differently.
Yeah, for sure.
Because he wasn't. If he wasn't, he got injured earlier.
Yeah, this is almost a year removed completely from playing soccer at this point. But I want to thank Manchester United, especially if you're a LA Galaxy fan, for letting him do some preseason training. How about you? They also rehabilitated him, which was great. You know, clearly good. Not that LA Galaxy doesn't have great medical staff, but Manchester United, that was their player, so they took really good care of him. I'm excited for it because he's a huge name, and I know he's going to draw a lot of attention. My only thing is he is old at this point.
36 years old.
He's still got it for sure. Like he would play for United right now. But we're trying to get away from the idea that we're a retirement league. I mean, these aren't the signings you make. So, he's probably going to be paid too much.
Yeah. Is he? You got to make an exception though, right? For him.
You have to. Everyone. Yeah, there's no team except Philadelphia who would not do this deal. Philadelphia's like, I don't know.
Philadelphia's like,
here's all the time we have left.
I understand he would be an incredible draw, and tons of people will show up to go see him. Yeah. But we don't feel like it's a good move for us.
I mean, just for us right now, we're thinking Akam. You know what I mean?
And then letting him go after 6 months.
Yeah. I mean, like he could leave whenever he wants. But for me, it's like you got to do it. But it doesn't hurt, but it also doesn't help. It's just like, you got to do it, but you're going to hear, retirement league, he's off to retire. And it's like, this sets us back, but I would say at least another 3 years.
You can say that about, he went to Manchester United when he was, 34 years old? That's not, I'll call Manchester United a retirement team. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't seem.
Happily, because they just got Alexis. Go for it.
So he was already old, but he was clearly still... he still had a lot left in the tank, and he delivered. And he played very well in his first season.
And the way he plays, he doesn't have to be necessarily young. Like somebody else put it, like he's a poor man's Alan Gordon. To some degree, I mean, that's kind of his style of play, which is like, look, I'm a big guy. I'm very strong. You're not going to knock me off the ball.
I mean, who's more offended at that statement? Alan Gordon or Zlatan Ibrahimovic?
Probably Zlatan, because he's been mentioned compared to anyone that wasn't hung on a cross at some point in his life. But like, I just think he is not going to show up and be, this superstar player that he was when he was a teenager, but he's going to be great. And he's going to be a lot of fun.
I can't. imagine him being in MLS and not just lighting it up. I really think it's gonna be scary. I mean he is like he's never been like the most athletic, and in the last like 5 years that really hasn't been his game.
Right.
But the dude knows how to play. He knows exactly where to be. Technical on the ball. Tall. Just an imposing figure. So,
and also, if you're one of those youth players, could you ask for a better, tutor than just watching him? Look at the great work David Villa has done over at NYCFC. So many of the youth players are like getting to watch him play, and watching him practice has made me practice this way, and I train now this way because
that's interesting.
Zlatan, I think, will have the same effect. They're like, dude, I need to walk around with a ponytail.
I can't really imagine what kind of teacher Zlatan would be.
I think just by watching. I don't think he's going to take it.
He's going to be like, oh, you have a question about how to take free kicks? Well, lions don't teach.
Yeah.
They hunt,
Get away from me. I think that's his. He hands out blindfolds as he practices free kicks.
He just tells the manager, it's just like, there's some peasant asking me questions.
Could I get a refresh on my water? And the coach is like, sure, absolutely. Yeah, let me get you that.
Sorry, that's Romain Alessandrini. Please don't talk to him that way.
He's one of our DPs. Please be respectful to him.
I think this is
there's a guy named Giassi Sardes that won't stop calling.
I think this is look. It'll be huge for the league. Look,
are you excited about it?
I'm very excited about it because Don Garber was talking about David Beckham and his effect on the league, and obviously getting a Major League Soccer team. But he really, I like those little bit of stories about like where the league was before Beckham got there and where it is now and what effect he really did have on the league.
That's right, because you didn't watch it too much, right? You just sort of paid attention a little bit to the league before Beckham got here.
Yeah. And so.
Which me too, by the way.
And I don't think,
an active fan.
I don't think Zlatan is going to have that same effect because the league is just in a different place. But I think it does add that cachet, add that it's just another level of interest. And Zlatan, a giant, just a global brand. I was seeing something on Twitter about Cristiano Ronaldo, about how he has more. I think he has like 80%. Or 70% of his followers don't follow Real Madrid. So he's essentially
a global brand.
He's bigger than the club.
Yeah.
And I'm not suggesting Zlatan it will be exactly that, but it kind of would be.
Will be. Especially like if we're getting so many players now as a league from Malmo, which is the team that first developed them over in Sweden. Just think of what this
Anton Tinnerholm.
Yeah, Tinnerholm is another one. Just think of all of the youth players that are going to watch him. Or European players are going to watch, Zlatan and be like, wow, all right, look at all these other players are actually pretty good. The standard is a lot higher than what I expected. Maybe that is a place I could go to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is the same thing Beckham kind of did. He's going to open up doors. It just sucks that we have to hear they're retirement league.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you know us. We don't care. We'll come at you. We're the Cooligans.
Yeah.
You had your time to get away with that stuff. Now we're here.
And I'm glad I got to bring these back because I made these last year. These Zlatan during the Zlatan transfer rumors.
They're like two memes. The one from the Coming to America is perfect.
Yeah, so it's
did a great job there.
One is La La Land, and we just renamed this La La Land.
La La Land,
and it's just him dancing with what's her name? I forgot her name.
I have no idea.
I forgot her name.
It's a movie with singing in it. I don't watch it.
And the one from Coming to America. So having a little fun with the Zlatan news. I think again.
How do the fans feel?
Yeah.
Especially if you're listening to this, and I know we have some LAFC fans. How do you feel about this? What jokes are you getting ready? What's the TIFO going to look like? I can't wait. But also, if you're an LA Galaxy fan, if you're listening to this, what do you think? I'm kind of excited to see it. Are you annoyed? Do you think they should have gone younger? Do you feel like you have to make this deal happen?
I think because of LAFC's existence, you got to do it. You got to at least entertain it to its last possible point.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially considering their ownership is nothing but celebrities. I mean, just their ownership alone brings asses to the seats. How many private boxes do they need just for their ownership group?
Yeah, so someone was tweeting about this because someone was in one of our threads. They were fighting with each other about how many groups, how many the ownership group for LAFC. Where somebody was like saying like it's a lot of people that are involved.
Yeah, it's like Mia Hamm, Nomar Garciaparra, Will Ferrell, Tony Robbins. Magic Johnson. I mean, geez.
It's a lot of people, but
it's a lot of Twitter followers right
so,
there.
but one person was saying like, oh, it's just a couple people. It's like 6, 7 people. And then when you go to the website and see the ownership group, it is 30 people.
30 people. Yeah.
Yeah.
You posted a funny GIF of like everyone jumping up and down at a concert. You're like, oh, look, the owners meeting or something like that. Yeah.
So, look, because LA Galaxy, especially with the terrible season that they had, I think they just have to do this just to recoup some of their losses.
Yeah, even if you get headlines for like, I don't know, a week, like that's enough. You're like, huh, no one's talking about black and gold right now. We're good. Yeah.
Nah, but honestly, even like the big difference between, you know, the 2017 season and 2018 season, I mean, Alessandrini, Ola Kamara, you know, having Zlatan there, Gios, the Dos Santos twins.
Yeah.
They're not twins, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, the team looks a little bit, and Jermaine Jones just not being there.
Already,
that's
already
huge
great.
Improvement.
Already great for your team. I'm excited as hell just to see how LA Galaxy just fields this. I mean, that's a much stronger team than last year. I'm excited to see how LAFC starts, and that rivalry is going to be huge.
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch it. I just want to see two good teams go after each other. Bob Bradley is. I mean, they don't have a lot of players just yet. I think they only have 11. I don't. They can't even do subs yet.
Did you hear? Just a shout out. If you listened, we had a special episode on this week on Monday with Jason Davis and Total Soccer Show. Again, shout out. They were awesome on the show. Thank you for being on.
Yeah.
But I listened to
Taylor, Daryl, Jason.
The interview Bob Bradley did with Jason Davis. He called in. This was like maybe a week ago.
Yeah.
A week and a half ago. Bob Bradley, I mean, seemed like one of the people who hate tweets Jason Davis. Do you know what I mean? He looked like he sounded, it was over the phone. It sounded like he had zero interest in talking, just the shortest answers. Get me off this phone.
And also, Bob Bradley is not known for short answers. He's known for just sort of talking for 10 minutes on his own.
Yeah, I don't know what. He just was. Bob Bradley was just not in any mood.
Jason, what'd you say about Bob, yo?
Not today.
Yeah. Were you wearing a Swansea shirt when he called in?
It was very odd. I couldn't. I don't think it was anything personal towards Jason Davis. But
no, I do. I think if you're Jason, you take that personal.
But it was. I never usually, especially for a new club, you kind of want to, you know, represent the club in a very positive way. Like if there was a meeting with a player, you like, and you tell them like how to behave during interviews. Yeah. You'd be like, just don't do what Bob does.
Yeah.
Because he's. It was very strange.
It was like a Migos interview. It was like, all right, they don't want to be here.
no one wants to be here.
Nobody wants to be here.
So I'm hoping that Bob.
This is all for the clicks.
Yeah, I'm hoping Bob is not as you know, I don't want to say difficult or like I just disinterested.
When we interview him?
I mean, who knows? I mean, it's probably going to be worse.
We haven't even tried to get that interview.
But
we know we're going to get a stop.
I'm just saying for a new club, you got to like, yeah, you got to fake it till you make it, right?
Jazz it up a little bit, buddy.
You got to sell it, man.
Come on, put some lights on it. You know what I mean?
You know, this is MLS 3.0, right?
Buddy, get out there. Shake some hands. Kiss some babies.
Optimism.
Yeah. Everything's going to be great.
So hopefully, look, it'll lead to interesting derbies because I think, you know, the LA Galaxy fans will have just another reason to hate LAFC.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
So let's take a quick break. We'll be back. We're going to talk about the U.S.-Bosnia game. That firestorm.
Almost died
in Carson, California. That sold out. You know, if you
my God,
if you consider selling out, just selling about
a portion of the one side,
6 or 7 seats.
Yeah.
If you set the bar very low, then you were successful.
It's a sellout. No. It's not that nobody wanted to sit in those seats. We didn't allow you to sit in those seats. We didn't sell them.
It's different.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll be right back right after this.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening. We just want to break in with a little bit of message from our sponsor.
SeatGeek, always looking out for the Cooligans. Again, if you guys want to go to any concert, you want to go to a comedy show, you want to go to a Broadway show, you want to go to a Major League Soccer game, you go to SeatGeek, download the SeatGeek app.
Oh my God, look, I have the app on my phone. My wife is a huge fan of Justin Timberlake. I don't know why. We both have the same body and talent, but she loves it. And I was thinking of getting her concert tickets. I pull it up right here. It starts to tell me which one's the least expensive. It goes through all these different websites and it finds the cheapest one for you. And also, it does it all tracked right where you are. So look, we record this podcast and video above Madison Square Garden. It pulled up Madison Square Garden right away. I don't even got to go far if I want to get it. And it tells me where the least expensive ones are, because that's what I'm gonna get her as far away from Justin so she can't see his abs.
Yeah, you're swiping right on MSG.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
We matched. Oh, so.
I know, right? Like, we got to do it, right? We're right here. So, I mean, you go to there, and guess what? If I were to put the word Cooligans, well, I've already purchased on it, but if it was my first order and I put the word Cooligans, I get $20 off that ticket.
$20 off. And shout out to the homie Danny Miller from LBF. Who told that he was like, yo, I was in Seattle going to some Sounders games, and me and a bunch of our friends, we went to the game. We were like, yo, the Cooligans got the SeatGeek app. You want to? We gave him the hookup with the heavy discount.
We were the plug, Doug. I think all three of them independently purchased tickets, and they each saved $20 because that was the first time they've ever used SeatGeek. And he says he loves the app and he can't wait to use it again.
Exactly.
So how awesome is that? If you haven't done it, you need to do it. Go to SeatGeek, download, or go to your app store, download the SeatGeek app, use the word Cooligans, get yourself $20 off. Come on now.
Do the right thing.
Hi, this is Mike Coscarelli from Anxiety Now.
And Andrea Allen from the Hot Mess Comedy Hour.
We just launched the brand new OG Podcast Network and wanted to let you know that you can hear ours and other great shows by going to ogpodcastnetwork.com.
Also, be sure to follow the network on social media to keep up to date with new shows, videos, and live events.
That's at OG Podcasts on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Or you can subscribe to your favorite OG podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, baby, we're back.
We're back. Oh, and we forgot to mention two things. First, our hats. Thank you, Talisman Caps. They sent us some really cool caps. Talisman.
Yeah, Talisman is amazing. If you noticed, you've got the one I love. But you picked this up first.
Yes.
So I couldn't also grab the same hat. It's pink, which I think we both look great in pink, by the way.
Okay.
It is
camera on action.
Yeah, you know. Andrea Pirlo looks like he's setting up a free kick. In one hand, he has a wine bottle. In the other one, he has a wine glass. And it's kind of like stitched almost like an emoji. It's kind of cool. And I have one that makes me a little sad right now.
You're right. Literally, because moments ago.
Yeah, it's the it's the Olivier Giroud scorpion kick, but he's wearing an Arsenal jersey.
He is no longer an Arsenal player.
No, he is all gone now. It's official. He's a member of Chelsea for £20 million. Look, Giroud, I wanted gone, but I do love him. He's a hell of a player. Always gave 100%, but I was like, look, you're not starting. You know what I mean? Get off the team. Let's make a little cash, and it's good for him because now, you know, he can, maybe, I don't know, he's better than Murata, so he'll play there. And maybe he gets back in the,
He is not better than Alvaro
He is
Morata.
so much better than Alvaro Morata.
I mean, he's good. I mean, I think they're pretty
He's
close.
a scorer. Alvaro Morata is not. That's it. Done.
I mean, they're both pretty handsome. It's gonna be a tough.
I mean, just the locker room alone.
It's gonna be a tough.
If
choice.
Anyone in there has some thoughts in their mind,
it's gonna be a tough choice for the gaffer.
Yeah. Imagine Conte's like, but you're both so very pretty. I don't know why I give you Andre Conte.
There's this interesting show I'm watching. Have you ever? Shout out to Elvis from On the Valley Apparel. He recommended the show called Club of Crows, Club de Cuervos on Netflix.
Yeah. I tried to watch the first episode and I just got really dismayed.
It's a wacky dramedy.
Yeah, and it's got
about
weird ways they shoot it.
Yeah, it feels like a 30 Rock episode.
Yeah,
but 1 hour long, right? But this is it's a good show. It's a show about a Mexican club, and about how a son takes over the club, and it's the show's funny. It's in Spanish. It has subtitles.
But I mean, if you know Spanish, you can.
Yeah. But it's a great show. I just started watching it, and
my wife followed along. Yeah. She understands Spanish a little bit, but she doesn't listen. She doesn't.
Yeah.
Can't speak it, and she followed along with the caption. What's it called again? Not a caption. You just
subtitles.
Said subtitles. I was about to say subscript, and I knew that was wrong.
This show, we need subtitles.
Yeah, for sure. Especially when I speak, just for me to read. Can I have subtitles for me to read? What am I supposed to say next? But it's really easy to follow. So if you do get a chance, check it out. It is kind of funny. It's just a little hard to watch. There's so much happening. You're like, what exactly is this?
Yeah.
It's not really about soccer. It's very difficult.
It is very good, though. Okay, so I forgot why I brought it up, but we just got to move on.
Talisman Caps. Shouts to you guys. Thank you so much. Go to Talisman Caps. Check them out. They have a bunch of cool stuff. Barcelona hats.
Yeah, great hat. I'm sure you've seen them like on Instagram or
yeah. You've seen
Facebook.
like, other people that do soccer content
They make
wearing it.
amazing hats, and thank you for. We met them. It was Dustin is the and his wife. I hate that I forgot her name, but Dustin and they were both
beautiful couple, great
super
people.
kind and welcoming, and we met them in Philadelphia. Super nice people. So
and shouts to Minneapolis City, which they have one of the hats for them.
Okay,
they do one of the Minneapolis hats.
Sweet.
And they tweeted us all the time. Shouts to Minneapolis City.
And before we start talking about the state of American soccer,
oh boy,
shout out to AO Bronx.
AO Bronx, the chapter that I was hanging out with when the U.S. officially did not qualify.
Yeah, this brings some negative memories.
Hurts my heart. It hurts my heart.
We want to show them some love. AO Bronx always being super supportive of the Cooligans. So, yes. So let's talk about the United States against Bosnia and also including Herzegovina.
Both of them played against one of us. So already we're behind the ball. Like, why are we playing
22 on 11? Not cool, bro.
Come on, man. Also, why are you all wearing the same jersey? This is very confusing. But look, what were you expecting? I mean, people were talking, oh, this was boring. This was this was a January friendly anyway. And we didn't qualify for the World Cup. Who cares?
There's not much reason to tune into this, but I can't even imagine. I was watching it, and I'm like, I honestly feel I'm like, who is watching this? Who else is watching this?
You know what I was thinking? Who's still watching this? Because I watched the first half, and I'm like, well, I'll just leave it on in the background.
I watched the whole thing. I was like, this is my responsibility. This is my duty. And then I was just like, you know what? I also hate my job.
Yeah.
This is no fun anymore.
Like, every once in a while, like, you'll watch, like, a preseason game, like, it's streamed on YouTube, or you'll watch, like, an academy game or, like, a U whatever game, and you're halfway through, you're like, why am I watching this? That's how I felt here. I was like, there's nothing at stake here. We didn't get a chance to see any of, like, Christian Ramirez. Would have been fun to watch.
Yeah, Marlon Harrison also did not play.
Yeah, I mean, this would have been fun. I mean, CJ Sapong, great. I love the way he played against Portugal. Bruh, we know what you can do. Move on.
But who we need to see if they still have talent? Giassi Zardes. That's why we're all so happy that he started this game.
Also, in a new position for him. I mean, it's just, what are we doing? Like, did you really go into that camp? And this is why so many fans were like, you don't need to bring in a veteran presence in the camp because the inspiration is going to be to start them anyway. Like, I'm glad Agudelo got a chance again. I'm glad Giassi Zardes got a chance again. But, like, bro, this wasn't it. Like, you could have just brought in all MLSers and just seen what happens. I'm glad Tyler Adams got in the game. Like, he was fun to watch in moments. I'm glad all those other things. But, like, bro, we don't need to see this. We've seen this already.
Yeah, there was it was a matter of like what was Dave Sarakin supposed to do? Was he supposed to be experimental with that lineup? Was he trying to give people a shot? Was he trying to add some veteran leadership to that group? It wouldn't have
mattered anyway because he's not going to be the coach.
Sure, I mean, that's not. He still has a responsibility to represent the U.S. men's national team.
But even if he did
in a good way,
even if he experimented and they won, if they beat Bosnia and Herzegovina 7-0. Would it have mattered?
It wouldn't have mattered, but
none of that would have told us what the team's going to look like in a year. Nothing. None of that would have told us what the style is. We don't know what coach is going to be brought in. We don't know what system is going to be brought in. There's all these rumors that it might be Antonio Conte. Right, Antonio? If it is, he's not going to play the way Sarakin played. He might not even use the same players. Sure. They might not even be in the same position. Shouts to you, Giassi Zardes. Like, we don't know. Like, why are we giving, like, but I'm glad we had a friendly.
If you're saying it doesn't matter, then you also can't say then you have no real reason to be upset.
No, then the only thing this could have done was given players that have a very minimal or fringe chance at being in the men's national team out, like moving forward, or that whole system, a chance to play. And we barely did that. We know Tyler Adams is going to be a part of it. We know Agudelo and CJ Sapong can be called in to be forwards. We know some of these other players have a chance. Zimmerman, he's good. We're good. Let him stay with his team. Okay. What are we doing? Bring on all the fringe players that we're not sure of whether they can or not.
Do you want to the younger play? I don't know.
We can go younger. This would have been a great opportunity for the U23s to get a run at a not even fully squad. I mean, they brought a guy from college. Bosnia and Herzegovina. They just called up a local college. Like, you got any Bosnians out there?
From Idaho or
Yeah.
something.
Anyone scared? Anyone have cold sweats at night whenever they hear a phone go off because they're from Kosovo? You know what I mean? Like, bring those guys in. They brought like some local dude, Medunjanin from
Philly.
From Philly was out there. Like, they clearly weren't trying. You know?
I look, the game in itself. Look, if you didn't watch it, 0-0.
Then you're better off if you didn't watch it.
I mean, you're a lucky human being for not having tortured yourself like I did.
Shouts to the bug eaters. The most entertaining thing that happened is that they tweeted at us, "You can't spell Cooligans without 0-0." That's the funniest and most entertaining thing that happened around that entire match.
My only real take from the game was I think I was happy with how the team looked defensively, which is like not really saying much. I liked Ike Opara. It was his first cap. I thought he brought that same intensity that he plays with at Sporting Kansas City, and he's a kind of a fringe player. He's probably not going to be.
It worked out for him.
It worked out, but I think he put on a good display on why he should be called up again.
Yeah.
I thought that pairing of Zimmerman and Opara looked pretty good, and it made me fairly confident that in some of the World Cup qualifiers coming up, that obviously in a couple years. But I just that's all. All I wanted from this game was, all right,
give me one thing.
Give me one thing. I just want to know that the boat is like not totally sinking.
Right.
I just want to
taking on water.
We're
that's
taking on
for
water,
sure.
but we're gonna get through this. That's all I wanted. And
you make a good point because center backs are pairings. You don't always have to have just
it's a marriage.
Yeah, 100% is.
And center backs spoon to develop chemistry.
You need to bond.
You need to bond.
So we're gonna lock this door. No, we're gonna put on Jade. But
Jade. We have this conversation.
Jade.
It's not Jade.
Well, is there really a difference?
There is.
Her career is over. She's like
Jade.
She's like Zlatan. So
do not insult Jade that way.
She is a smooth operator. They're both smooth operators. They're a pairing. So it's not just about individual talent. Like, they have to be able to work together. And you do make a good point where they show that they could work together really well. And also, shouts to Zach Steffen, who looked great and still saved a penalty without actually saving a penalty. He is impenetrable.
I mean, more of a shout out to Bill Hamid, who actually did make a very, very important save.
Yeah. Bill Hamid actually had a couple good saves.
Yeah, and I don't know, the game was just like ugly. I just when you look at the passing chart on the field, it was everything was in their half, in the US's half, and in like the middle of the field. There was nothing going on up front. There were barely any shots. I don't even know exactly how many shots were taken. But I didn't leave that game, feeling like the future of U.S. soccer. Like, well, not even about the future of U.S. soccer, but like this could have been an opportunity to be like to have a glimmer of hope for the future.
I don't know what you would have seen that would have given you that, other than Christian Ramirez like just scoring like 3 or 4, and you'd walk away going like, "Whoa!" But look at this, and now there's like a talking point. Yeah, you know what I mean.
The biggest thing that there were a couple articles I read about that just up front that the lineup chosen, the mistake was in not putting players that were like good on going one-on-one, that were just more confident going forward, and then they just played too cautiously for a game that really didn't matter at all. So that was just like, it was like, I'm not trying to win. I'm just trying to like not lose and not lose badly. So that's not the mentality that the U.S. men's national team should have at this point. It should just be like, I'm going to go all out. I'm going to do whatever I can because I'm angry that the U.S. is not going to the World Cup. We were embarrassed. So let's do everything we can to let the world know that we're going to be back and back even stronger. That's why
that didn't happen.
I wish that would have been the case, but that wasn't.
But what would have made that happen?
A couple goals would have been nice.
I don't think that would have changed anything. I think Christian Ramirez was someone of that ilk.
Sure.
Someone who we haven't seen.
Chemistry would have been lovely, but we didn't get it. So whatever.
I would love to see someone just get 2-footed. You know, like America's still here, son.
A couple weird. I mean, Will Trapp was had the captain's armband.
And can I say one thing? He spells Will with 1 L and Trapp with 2 P's.
I mean, he's
What's happening here?
That's a trap god, man. Don't even.
I mean, shouts to you, Trap Lord, but like Will with one L, Trap with two P's. You do one of those two on purpose.
I mean, it's if that's not a rapper's name, like I don't know what is.
Lil Will Trap.
Lil Will. He. I don't think it was like a weird decision to name him the captain. I don't look at Will Trapp and feel like this guy's representative of what's the U.S. men's national team.
That could have been like in training or something.
Maybe.
Yeah.
He had a good Camp Cupcake, but yeah. So look, not that that's representative of anything in particular, but I think it's sort of just suggests again of like who was brought in,
right?
And
right, if he's your captain, you didn't bring in the right. Although someone like Ike Opara or Zimmerman, I always like a center back as being your captain because they're typically the ones.
But it's more about who has more experience on the national level. So I understand why Will Trapp would get it.
Sure.
There were a couple interesting moments. Jordan Morris getting his shirt ripped.
Yeah.
Which was interesting. I don't know if you see that.
Yeah, he was pretty upset about it.
Yeah, he was very mad. He pushed the guy. It's a friendly, but now we're taking our clothes off.
It's not so friendly, son.
Not so friendly. We stripping?
Yeah.
All of a sudden?
We're friends, but if you rip my shirt, we're not friends anymore.
But honestly, the first thing I thought when I saw this was Nike. It was just the sponsor for the U.S. men's national, and it makes the kits. Is also the new kit maker for the NBA.
Right.
And in the NBA, as soon as the Nike shirts, the jerseys started, they started using them. They would always
keep ripping.
They kept ripping.
Yeah.
And that was like a big issue because who was it before that made it? Was it
Adidas?
Was it? I think it was Adidas. And it kind of just raises that question. I'm like, oh my God, you would think it would happen more in soccer. It doesn't happen too much.
Yeah, the material's too light.
Yeah, but let's
go back to full on cotton. Just see what that's like. 5 minutes of sweating that stuff and it weighs 10 pounds.
So what we did want to talk about with this, because we got look, we can talk about this particular game for maybe 6 more seconds and it'll be interesting.
I mean, we're literally talking about as much as we can.
But we did receive an interesting email that I think that referencing kind of the stuff that we were talking about last week, because last week we were talking about going to the Philadelphia Convention Center for United Soccer Coaches Conference, and we were making a couple of jokes about what the people that were there, and it seemed very representative of mostly like white America.
Right.
So
I have it pulled up.
Yeah, and we were making a couple of jokes, and and
we know that this is a sort of an odd subject for people, the fans of this sport, to cover because it has been brought up in this realm. And I also want to be sensitive to how other people believe. Now, I don't think the person emailing us this has any bad intentions.
No, I think this seems like and just to be clear, we're not going to say his name just because I don't know if that's like
we don't want to put you on blast.
Yeah.
There's no reason for us to say your name.
Just so that you know that reading it was not offended in any real way. I didn't agree, but
I was a little I was confused at where you arrived to, or where this person arrived to, like the notions you used to get to where you're going.
Yeah, and I'll say this at most is that the person who emailed us is an economist, so they know,
and they're very smart.
You're very smart. We were reading your paper, and
I did not read the part with the equations. I'm like, what is this dude doing?
But I think it's an important conversation to have,
right?
And I respect your perspective.
So here's the long and short. The paper itself. So this person has sort of like a big sort of something you would find like in a medical journal or in an economy journal that gets published, and it's like now like a stated document, right? And essentially what this person did, the email states that a lot of times the people running for president and other people involved in soccer constantly talk about, getting people inclusion, but like for people in low-income neighborhoods or other society, and they feel that it's either condescending, right, or that it's done to the detriment of the white players, because it's always seen as like a non-white thing, where he's like, there are white players that don't have the same, that
are
accessible,
yes.
That aren't as accessible to current soccer because of the pay-for-play system and so on and so forth. 100% true. We've talked about Clint Dempsey. He's one of those players. He's one of those players that just didn't have money growing up. because you're white doesn't mean you have money, and it doesn't mean that you have all the same opportunities that every other player does, especially in the system. And look, we're not talking about society. We're specifically talking about soccer. All right. So in the system we have now, you could be any nationality. Look at Timothy Weah. You know, Timothy Weah, a black player, his father just won an election in Liberia. And I was just talking to someone who knows the family. That might have to force Tim Weah to go play for the Liberian team, because politically it would be very unsavory for his father, George Weah, a very famous player, to have his son play for the American national team.
Especially in this climate.
Yeah.
After
100%.
After recent comments.
Yeah, especially since he ran on a much more like a positive, a much more sort of liberal thing. But anyway, so he says that going out and finding those players to the detriment of white players isn't good for the national team. 100% true.
Totally.
Yeah. And I want to make our statement clear, because he says he doesn't know where we stand. We don't want anyone to be denied the opportunity to play soccer.
Especially if you're very good.
Yeah, if you're good, you should play soccer. I do not care what your name is. I do not care what religious building your family goes to on the weekends or weekdays. I do not care what color your skin is. I do not care what gender you are. If you are a good player and you can play soccer and make America better at soccer, you deserve the chance to play. And I think a lot of times, he's not wrong. Politicians will say things just to drum up activity and buzz. And they sometimes will demagogue, 100% true. But I think when we speak personally, and let me speak for myself, when I speak about this, I do want more attention put on Latin players and black players and Asian players and players specifically, even if they're white, that don't live or can't afford the pay-for-play system or currently aren't looked at. We talked about the Jonathan Gonzalez situation. There was no one in our system that could go to Jonathan Gonzalez's father and mother and say, hey, I grew up the same way you did. This is a good opportunity for your son. I'm speaking on to you at a level that you understand. White people could have done it, certainly could have. But it probably would have been better if it was someone who was Mexican-American or someone who grew up similar to the way they did that could go in and it's an easier introduction. It's someone who makes them more comfortable because they're familiar. It's not an issue of saying like, oh, a white man came here. God damn it. I don't want my son to play with that white man. It's not that. It's like, oh, look, Hercules Gomez walked in. Here's someone who understands my culture. Yeah. Here's someone who would sit down and maybe
who played for the US
for the men's national team
and Mexican American and had that a very similar experience.
Just would be able to walk in and understand the culture. If there was a Indian parents, and there was a player of Indian descent who could walk in and, I don't know, whatever their culture is, maybe it's something specific to them, whatever, take their shoes off or pay respects to some type of religious figurine that's there, Jewish and understands what a mezuzah is. Whatever those things are, that's just good marketing. That's just a good strategy to get some of these multinational, multicultural players in. This has nothing to do specific. I'm not saying let's remove some of the white, scouts, because by the way, there is only one scout for the entire thing.
I'm not saying probably white.
Yeah, he is. Thomas Ronigan. He's European. But I'm not saying you remove him in favor of someone else. No one should be denied in favor of a Latin player or a black player or anything. They should just also be included. Yeah, that's I think what I'm saying. Are you saying the same thing?
No, I'm not saying the same. I almost don't really agree with you fully on and using Jonathan Gonzalez as an example is so reading this email, it didn't feel like that the issue was that there's not enough Latin American players on the U.S. men's national team, on the senior team. I really don't think that my concern isn't I want to see more brown faces on the U.S. men's national team on the senior level. No, that's not it. The best players should be playing on that squad.
Right, we both agree there.
The issue the issue that this brought up from the email, and I'll just read. The gist of the email is essentially, I'll read a quick excerpt. It said, referring to inclusion in U.S. soccer. So it says, if it is the case, referring to inclusion, I believe the appropriate response is to call for resources to be targeted to those areas, meaning underserved areas, wherever they may be. Instead, what we typically hear next is how soccer is, quote unquote, too white and that we need more Hispanics and Latinos on our roster and less white players. There are three reasons I can think of for why candidates, commentators, et cetera, would say this, and none of them are good. And one of them is a prejudice in favor of non-white players, or particularly in favor of some other ethnicity. Two, trying to get votes and or signal virtue by aligning with identity politics. And
That's probably true, that
three,
one.
Ignorant of the fact that white players can also be underserved, and that underserved, it does not imply non-white, which is accurate, which is those are fair things to say. But I think
there's another option.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
But what I think this person seems to be more offended at is not really soccer in itself. It's the identity politics that exists in the culture now. So the idea of even myself, I was making the joke about when at the show where like all the coaches were white, and it's like even at the convention, the majority were all white, right? So it's not me saying, why are these white people here?
Right.
We need to and you made a clear distinction about that it's possible that some people were in favor of less white players, which is nobody is saying that. Right. Nobody is saying we need to exclude white people because, frankly, and from coming from a Latino, coming from a minority, I'm just like, well, that's not going to happen. There is like maybe there's people. I mean, obviously there's people that are like the white races.
Yeah,
we can't allow this.
Yeah,
look, I don't think white people in soccer or in the rest of the world are in any danger of having.
Everything's gonna be just fine.
Yeah,
yeah.
So that's the point brought up in this email was also it's generally and we can have this conversation, but like it seems like it was why are we talking about poor Latinos as opposed to like there's a lot of people who are poor.
Yeah.
And it's very my issue with this is it's very like race doesn't matter until it matters, right? It's like we'll pick the right context for race to matter.
Right.
And as a Latino minority, I don't get that luxury. Right, I always have to be black, or I always have to be Hispanic. I have to be that thing all the time.
Right. You can't just be an underserved person. I'm now an underserved Latino because I can't get out of that.
Yeah. So it feels a little all lives mattery, right? And I'm not trying to say that to offend anybody,
right?
But it is like the experience. Look, it didn't pass the eye test. Look, I had never been to a soccer convention. The eye test for me
was a complete fail.
It was just like, it seems like the people that are in positions of power within soccer, and this was like, there were thousands of people.
Right.
It seems like that the people running are probably white. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm not saying they need to not be there because we met.
They shouldn't be fired because they're white.
No.
We're just saying it's like, wow. And if you took a sample, this seems like it's almost mostly white people.
And speaking to an economist, right? Like if we're looking at the data, then maybe this might be something to look into of why this might be the case. Because and I don't want to be dismissive in the sense like that these people are not doing important work. Like we met a lot of people. Good, amazing people, men, women in American soccer that help children grow up.
Help children from everywhere.
Teach them the game. Teach them everything. So not even taking anything away. But if you're white and you're involved in soccer, you're already a part of a minority and you're doing amazing work.
Right.
So
and we appreciate you.
Not taking anything away from that. But this to suggest that poverty exists and yes, minorities kind of suffer from that a little bit more for obvious reasons, right? Like you can't accept that racism exists in the world and systematic like oppression exists in the world and then be like, no, but for the U.S. soccer team, like none of that should matter. It should be a meritocracy.
Right.
And that's not.
It's also just not how society works. But look, we're a comedy podcast. We're just referencing this email we got. But I think I can solve all this. And I think we do actually agree. I think we're both talking about the same thing. But I do think in the end, the thing this person is afraid of is that we're saying we're going to associate much more funds and just a lot more stuff to go and get players that aren't white, particularly because they aren't white. What he's afraid of is 10 years down the road, looking at an entire national team and there not being enough white players. That's what we saw the reverse of when we walked into that Philly Convention Center. We saw a much higher sea of white people. Now, I'm not saying that that's because there's racism. Clearly, at some point, somewhere, there was at least a little bit of racism involved in some decision somewhere. We can't say that it never existed, but I'm not going to sit there and say that's on purpose, that everyone is white, that other people were held back. I'm not going to say that, but I will say that here we are now. And what we're looking at is a sea of people that aren't as diverse as simply the population of the U.S. And that also isn't right. So I'm not saying that we necessarily need to stop focusing on white people, regardless of whether they're poor or rich, just to help get the numbers right, because that's not helping anyone. But to sit there and suggest that we don't have that we're clearly doing an okay job of it right now is wrong.
Yeah, and it's not representative of what it's like in the rest of the world, right?
That's what I'm saying.
It's like, and all we're pointing out by I guess mentioning that it's like a suburban white sport is that poorer people are being priced out.
Oh, so it is a suburban boring sport.
So, and that's the culture of the game in the U.S. I mean, there's a lot of like who were we talking? We were talking to somebody about how that soccer academies and getting your kid into a soccer thing is like getting them into a charter school, getting them to a nice little program. It's like it's a luxury for wealthier parents.
Right.
So we're trying,
and that's not everyone.
Yeah, but we're trying to just point that out within the culture. And I wish I forgot to put this photo up, and maybe Mike can get in tight in this camera.
Or I'll add it. I'll just add it.
Yeah. So this is a picture of a PSG youth team.
Right.
This is I think it might be the under like 17s or something like that. So this is
if you don't know the PSG, here, give it to me. I'll put it up.
Yeah. So the PSG team. If you're looking at this photo, there is.
If you are zoomed in, I'll just hold it up.
There is maybe 2 white players, 3 tops. So that's it. And this isn't like. I know maybe somebody's looking at this and like, what a nightmare.
Yeah.
We cannot have soccer teams look like that. But when you look at the French national team, it's majority black players. I can't imagine that they all came from very wealthy backgrounds. It's a poor sport, right?
And a lot of them are actually immigrants from African countries.
Yes.
So clearly that they didn't have money for academies if they just got to look at Patrick Vieira. Look at Thierry Henry said he grew up in the hood. Even some of the guys that played for like Guatemala and these national teams, they come from very impoverished neighborhoods. I don't think being poor qualifies you to be a good soccer player. I don't think being rich disqualifies you from being a good soccer player. Everyone should get an opportunity. What we're saying is the way the structure is built right now, it's hindering a larger population of Latin and black players and minority players.
That's systemic, and it's not racism specifically.
It's not, because I don't think they're like, yo, let's make it rich so black people can't play.
Yeah.
I don't think they said that, right? And if you actually read this guy has a PDF. It's this huge article. It's a lot of pages. Look, I read it on the train, and I never read, okay? And one of the things he states is he he did a lot of math to suggest the more Hispanic players, 1% more of Hispanic players you have in your MLS team, the worse you do, which was counteracting Chivas USA, which said they're only going to have Hispanic players. Fine. I guess the data states that, you know what I mean? But also, I think he was taking anyone that speaks Spanish or has a Latin last name, which you've got a lot of DPs in there that came from very established careers. So that helps sway that. But at the end of the day, it's like, I just think like, you're so misguided in looking at that specifically. It's like, what do you prove by proving that? There shouldn't be any Hispanics in the league, and that's clearly Atlanta would be a much worse team.
No, I think the main point, and I think the thing we all want is for a higher quality soccer culture. And the more expensive it is to participate in the game, even at a very low level. That's really what I think is more important to me, that the game is accessible not to the people that can that are the professionals that are probably going to make it to the senior level of the national team. It's like that's 0.1 or 2% of like the people that that are participating in the game within itself. But if you can't even allow for easier access to inclusion, then you're gonna have a weaker soccer culture, and that's just obvious. I mean, look, we can talk about economics, we can talk about society and getting offended at cucks and everybody, snowflakes, all this other stuff. But it's like, it's still a reality. And it's also not how it's done everywhere else in the world. And my hope is that the more people that have access to play, the cheaper it is to participate, will increase the culture of the game and the quality, And at some point, if we're lucky, we have a couple national team players that are really, really good. Whether they're white, black, Hispanic, or whatever.
Yeah.
But the at the bottom level, it has to be easier to play. And
look at England. You talked about PSG. Look at England. There's tons of poor white people in England, and those are the ones that play. The richer ones go play rugby. That's the white-collar sport. And if you listen or if you've ever heard some of the black, English people speak, a lot of them come from Caribbean backgrounds, and they all talk about how much of an inspiration it was to see Ian Wright play when he went to Arsenal and how well he did, because he was sort of an inspiration to be like, oh, my God, someone from our area made it. That was important to them. It may be lost on someone who is white, because you do look at a lot of these players and see something of yourself. Someone like myself, look at how much I reacted to having someone like Jorge Mas just get up and speak and say something that so culturally represents how I grew up and just the people around me, that just, it reminded me of home to just have someone get up and be like, and Fidel would never let us have a soccer team, and I'm doing it here. Screw you, Fidel. Like, it's a beautiful thing to be reminded of home. And for a lot of these players, like including Jonathan Gonzalez, Thomas Ronningen coming to your place with a bow tie and talking to your parents, that's a nice gesture, which, by the way, it turns out that never actually happened. They've been lying about it. But turns out it's
Thomas Ronningen or Tucker Carlson in that bow tie?
But, like, it's fun to have this person show up and speak to your family. But if someone showed up that can make an instant bond a little bit better, that's something that we should all applaud. That's good marketing. He even talks about how in the article, like, in Texas, FC Dallas set up an entire different marketing department just to market to Hispanic players. Yeah, you got to market differently to Hispanics. That's smart business.
Sure. Look, I don't want to get into the data, because I think this person is, I think, very well informed, and I would love to have a conversation about it. And
we would love, I don't know where he didn't say where he's from, but like, come to one of our events, man. We would love to meet you and talk to you.
It would be a great conversation. And
we don't want to disrespect where you're coming from.
And more than anything, like, and that's the thing. Is like, I wasn't offended by this. I respect.
I was not either.
I respect your perspective. I think what you're saying is not unreasonable. Like, everybody should have an opportunity, and but to ignore race entirely is irresponsible.
It's also just I think it's also just you're a data person. You got to look at all data. And to ignore this one piece is not smart. That's something that I don't think any scientist or economist or anyone with an ist.
It just feels again, it's like, it feels a little, I don't see color, and it's just like, well, I mean, good for you.
I wish everyone else was like that, but for right now, we need to.
And speaking of that,
also, you emailed 2 Hispanics. What the fuck are you doing, bro? You send this to TSS. I want to see how would Daryl and Taylor handle this? They probably wouldn't respond to you on the podcast. But again, we still have the tile up of the U.S. Bosnia Herzegovina. Nothing happened there. So we got to talk about something.
But even talking about that representation, like, we had just one of our reviews on iTunes, which was very nice. Somebody left for ATL Gooner. I don't know who this is personally.
Shouts to you.
Thank you. But he just wrote as one of the reviews, thanks for giving voice to the Latino MLS perspective. You guys are hilarious. Keep it up. So look, that's a person that's like, hey, I haven't seen this perspective.
Yeah. Would you say that we don't speak to white people? I think we do.
Sure.
We speak to the white community all the time. But clearly, just us doing this.
You got to learn a couple Spanish words if you want to, like, keep
you need to keep up with us. I mean, we switch a lot. By the way, if SOCL Andrew could do it, you can do it.
Okay.
And Jay Riddle is practically Latino. He's got tattoos on his arms. He never wears sleeves. We don't even know if he has a real job. He has random dogs on his Instagram.
He ain't got he's Tommy from Martin.
I'm like, you ain't got no job, Jay.
Nobody can tweet this much about soccer, attend every single game and away, and also be employed.
He might be getting paid per Photoshop, which we found out from Kelly that you're doing this on your phone, bruh. Your thumbs are destroyed. You're going to get carpal tunnel. But if SOCL Andrew could follow along, come on.
Exactly.
Ain't nobody listening to this whiter than him. He's from England. Nobody.
Oh, man. And he's one of the best. So
he's one of the greatest.
All right, so hopefully you now know our stance and what our position is on this subject. And again,
but we also will say anything to get more fans. So no, I'm kidding.
If you want to talk about it more, we'd be happy to do that. So let's wrap things up with a couple loose stories that we need to address before.
If we're going to talk transfers, I just want to say shouts to Arsenal. Thank you so much, Obama, Yang, and Mkhitaryan. Bang, 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 bang.
All right, Alexis is happy again.
We back, baby.
with
Turns out Arsene Wenger is no longer handling transfers, so that's enough Arsene Wenger out for me.
Okay.
He's out of the transfer business. Come on, baby.
Let's talk about Justin Meram. Justin Meram leaving Columbus Crew,
Se fue.
going to Orlando City.
You know why he left? So many white people in Columbus. That's the issue.
Imagine that was his going away. Like, you know how players post the like Apple Notes.
Yeah.
And
Yo, you mad white is all it says.
No, he's great and he loves Columbus. And I think if the team wasn't preeminently possibly moving, I think he would probably stay there for the rest of his career.
Speaking of white, I do want to point one thing out.
What?
So if you're listening to the podcast, you can't see this, but we basically took a screen cap of his Instagram story, and he has like a little text that says, I'll always love you, Columbus. I hope you understand why it was my time to move on. And then he put the two hands. It's actually hands like high-fiving, but everyone uses it as prayer
hands.
Right? Now, if you were to just click that button, those hands would be yellow. But he purposefully picked the white hands.
Oh, sure, yeah.
He's a Rocky.
Yeah.
What are you doing, bro? You got to go one to the right.
He's not a very dark.
Look at him, yo. He looks Puerto Rican. You got to go one to the right, my G.
One tone a little lighter.
Either that or just stick with the yellow. If you're unsure, like when I do the guy with the hand like across the face, the one who's my skin tone has blonde hair, so I can't pick that.
Oh, no, God forbid.
You know, I mean, clearly I got that jet black hair, right? Which people keep asking if I'm dying. No, this is natural. Look, I got grays in my beard,
Who is
bro.
asking you if
people
you're dyeing
keep asking,
your
like,
hair?
yo, what color you use in your hair? My G, natural. This is natural. I don't do nothing. Why would you purposely pick the white hands?
I mean, look, I think you're looking into this a little too.
No, he picked it on purpose.
Who cares? This is like an annoying.
You go yellow.
This is an annoying thing where now emojis are now representative of where you stand on like on racial issues. Which is
I don't think this has anything to do with race.
But you're getting upset that his hands are not dark enough, the little cartoon hands.
I just think there's a big question mark here. Why'd you choose the white one? Not that it's wrong to choose the white one. I'm not upset. But bro, you had to make that choice.
But it's not wrong to choose this color, but explain yourself.
Yeah, tell me why. Wouldn't you be like, if he chose the real black one, you'd be like, bruh.
All right, I'd be like, okay,
you'd be like,
I have a couple questions.
You also, that's a choice you make. You go straight yellow if you're unsure.
But there's clearly, there's even, it seems like there's some racial issues and racial animosity to why can't he choose the darkest hands and people ask no questions?
That's clearly not representative of him unless, I don't know, you're wearing goalkeeper gloves?
It's emoji appropriation?
Yeah, cultural
right? It's
emoji appropriation.
Always an issue. You know what? Everybody, tweet at us. Use the all black hands emoji.
Yeah.
Exclusively. I don't care what race you are.
I don't care who you are.
All right?
We don't use the N-word, but this you can use. And then at the bottom he put, here I come Orlando City, and he put a little lion. I think he's gonna go great on that team.
It's
Yo,
a
that
yellow,
lion mad yellow.
Mad yellow lion. I don't know.
So you can't imagine they had different races for the Lions. That would be hilarious. Yeah, I'm excited to see what Orlando looks like, man, because they are stacked now.
Well, I mean, they're stacked with Meram, but no Laren, right? So Laren is officially
technically not officially gone still.
Well, last I heard, I think this should be resolved this week. But like before we talk about Laren, I think Meram arriving there changes the dynamic, changes the look of Orlando drastically. Question, Meram. That midfield
and Dwyer, that up front.
I mean, but that midfield you're a lot more comfortable with. Mm-hmm. You know, Meram. My only issue is I think Meram and Kleshin are very similar players.
No, I think they play on the opposite sides of the field, so you're good. But they probably know. I mean, you're going to need some good defensive midfielders for sure.
Yeah, and that's. I don't know what formation Jason Christ is going to put out, but I think there is neither of them are like the strongest defensively. They're not liabilities. But I
think he's going to do the Christ diamond that he loves.
Okay.
And, you know, in order for this to work, you need a Beckerman. You need that really, really good, like, especially that, 2010, 2011 Beckerman. But you need a really good defensive midfielder. I don't know who they have right now. I keep forgetting the guy's name. But, you know, they're going to need a good one.
Yeah.
That's all
I'll say. But there's not going to be a lack of creativity
for sure.
in the midfield. So that's exciting.
They might be able to outscore everyone.
But, we should talk about Kyle Laren. last I heard, I don't know what you heard, but last I heard,
He was using the white hands.
was that he is going to Besiktas did complete last I heard completed transfer.
But he's supposed to be loaned.
He's supposed to be loaned to Olympiacos.
Yeah.
And because of Orlando City made it clear that they were gonna, he was still an Orlando City player, and that they weren't just gonna let him go, and they were gonna fight whatever legal battle they had to, because they didn't approve of the transfer. And it looks like the transfer is gonna be approved, and because the Major League Soccer did not want to get into a big legal battle, they allowed Orlando City to keep 100% of the transfer fee when it normally is 75%
for him. Yeah, because he's out of a
because
Generation Adidas, right?
I think so. Yeah, and he was drafted. So
it's 3 years removed. That's 75%, which is what Jack Harrison, what NYCFC was fighting for with Jack Harrison. Also, something else we need to talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah, so normally it would be 75. They get to keep 100%.
Which is not the rule. That's the thing. People,
but MLS rules are like, all right, well, yeah. I mean, the whole Beckham thing was like, yo, chill. Son.
Yeah, yo, just wink at me.
Yeah,
Becks.
You get what I'm saying, right? Feel under the table, my G. As corrupt as I would have been if I were the Newark mayor, I think I've talked about this on this podcast. I would have been the most corrupt. I bribes all day. That's kind of like the way I would have played, fast and loose. Is kind of how MLS does when the opportunity arises, which I actually don't think is a negative thing for MLS. I think it's smart to say, like, look, we have these rules in place. Sometimes we have to bend them to make these things work. It's also a sign that, like, yo, your rules just don't work, dog. Like, let's open this up. In due time, I feel like we're getting there. And I feel like things like what happened with Kyle Aaron and what's currently happening with Jack Harrison are those things that are going to say, like, all right, people are just finding loopholes. When you make too many rules, people just find loopholes. There's just easy ways.
Yeah.
Did you want to talk about Jack Harrison next?
Yeah.
Okay. If you don't know, Jack Harrison, amazing player. We named a burger after him. Shouts to Hard Time Sundays.
There it is.
There it is. There's us eating it. Good friend. Doesn't return our text, but good friend. We always knew, every fan of NYCFC, any fan of Jack Harrison, any fan of MLS knew he was destined for Europe. He's from Europe. He always said he wanted to go back there at some point. It was going to happen sooner or later. So it looked like Stoke City were in, but apparently they were upset that the goalpost kept moving back and forth. I think somebody tweeted that out, and I think it's a good way to do it. Constantly changing how much the value was. And I think the reason is he's still at 50% is how much NYCFC would have been able to keep. So NYCFC would have only been able to keep 50% of the money. If they would have waited till next year to sell him, it would have been 75, and his value would have only increased.
Yeah.
So you're looking at more money. Now, this was another sign that players like this should just be able to move, and teams should be able to recoup 100%. It's kind of ridiculous to say anything different. What just happened was Manchester City purchases him from NYCFC, which is like, son, that's moving money from the left to the right pocket. Don't worry about it. You're going to get 100%. You'd be fine. They technically purchase him and then loan him out to Middlesbrough, which he's taking a picture holding the jersey. He is officially a Middlesbrough player. Middlesbrough, if you don't know, biggest rivals Newcastle, plays in the championship.
Yeah, they're currently, I think, in.
I thought it was fifth. They're one place out of a playoff spot.
Yeah, they have. I think they have a game in hand.
Wait a minute, England in playoffs? I don't need to do that again. Yeah, but golly,
Jimmy Bullard is losing his mind.
Yeah, someone explain this to me.
Where's Liam Bridgewell, please? Yeah. No, so this is, look, yeah, we were talking about it last week. That was a possibility. We thought it was going to be Stoke.
Middlesbrough came in after that.
Yeah. And a little part of me is like, I wish he went straight into the Premier League. But this loan is only for this second half of the season.
Yeah, it's like a 6-month loan.
He's going to be a Manchester City player in the summer. And look,
I don't think so. I think he's going to be sold in the summer to Stoke City.
Yes, yeah. I think he's going to go somewhere else. Let me finish, Alexis.
Sorry.
Let me finish. He's a Manchester City player.
I think I'm kidding.
In the summer, and he's gonna move somewhere else. My only hope is that he stays in the Premier League. That's really it. He gets to Middlesbrough, lights it up. People are gonna be like, yo, the American MLS players can do this,
No, we need to go sign some more. Yeah.
He lights up the championship, and to some extent, you know what? The quality is a little lower. He's not gonna go right, not like going right into the Premier League and being overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna be more even. You know, we were talking to him at he was hanging out at MLS Cup,
yeah.
and we were asking him exactly about how he felt about getting called up and what it was like to play against international competition. And his first answer was just like, I didn't know what I was gonna. I didn't know. I haven't played against competition like this, or I didn't know what it would be like
when he went to the U23s.
And then he was like, you know,
U20s.
I was surprised I could keep up. Yeah. It was just like I
don't think he said it exactly that. He goes, I think
he was like, I cannot believe I'm a good soccer player.
Wow. I keep throwing these things with my hands. I'm good with it on my feet. No, but I think the sentiment was like, I thought, you know, there was a small part of me that thought maybe this is a different level. Maybe I'm not familiar with it. Maybe having gone to America, I saw a lower quality and maybe that's it. And then when he got there, realized, no, I could keep up. It's the same as what I've dealt with. And it's still very good. So, you know,
Middlesbrough is in 8th place.
Oh boy.
But they have a game in hand. They're with 44 points.
Aston Villa's above him. That's never a good sign. But clearly, I think this is a great move for him. Clearly a great move for his agent. Shouts to him for making this work. But the big thing is Manchester City, most of you know, is owned by CFG, City Football Group, which also owns NYCFC. This is clearly a loophole. The league had to allow this to happen. But I think these are, you know, the higher the quality of the league gets, the more they just can't keep these types of rules in place because the more we're competing like on a level similar to some of the biggest clubs in the world. So you can't. This is a sign, and this is a shot across their bow. Why do I not know words?
Why challenge yourself?
You know what? I feel like I know it, and then when I say it out of my mouth, I'm like, I don't know a goddamn thing. It's a shot across the front of their boat, the front of their barco. That those times are changing, and that's kind of why I like this. To some degree, he's a little bit of a sacrificial lamb. Like you found a way to loophole it, which is something that like Red Bull can do because they have other teams. Other teams can do this. You found a loophole to keep more money and to make more money as the owner of an MLS team. Son, I mean, they're going to keep doing this.
I think the issue that they have, and I'd have to look at the details, but it looks like because I know the reason they didn't want to sell him was because they can't use that money that they would get towards their actual roster.
Towards the cap
in their roster. So they I think it's like 650,000 in
650K
in GAM or something like that.
Yeah.
So it puts
and
them
the rest has to go towards the facilities.
Yeah, so it puts them in a weird position where they have all this money and then they can't use it on the roster, so they have to use it for other parts of the of the club.
Which is, I mean, I don't know that the rules should be like, yo, if you sell someone for $20 million, that's your cap now. I mean, that would be amazing. I would love to see that. Be like, damn.
That's. I mean, not that there's no caps in the rest of the world, but that's sort of
how the rest of the world does it.
You sell them that much, then now you got that much money. Now you figure it out. What you
and you may not be able to use all that.
If that was the case, it would put this huge incentive in selling players.
Arthur Blank be dancing. If you could
like,
do
yo,
that,
what you want? He'll be like,
yo, how much is Ezekiel Barco? Take him right now.
He just open his trench coat and it has like a bunch of player cards in there.
It's all their FIFA ratings. Like,
hey, what you need? What you need?
What you need, my dude?
Argentinian, Uruguayan. I got everything right now.
We got it all, baby. Like, I would be really interested to see what the league looks like if that were possible. And again, so sorry to Philadelphia if that were to happen.
So look, we're sad to see Jack Harrison go. Thank you for everything you did for us. I mean, like, genuinely, you were the first guest that was ever on our show.
And big, huge thank you to one of my favorite people that I've ever met doing anything with soccer. One of our biggest supporters when we started. His mom, Deborah Harrison, one of the greatest people that I've met involved in soccer. It makes me sad that we're not going to get a chance to say goodbye. That maybe, hopefully this isn't the last time we see each other. Same goes for Jack. Maybe sometime we're in Europe or something and we find a way to connect with him. But Deborah Harrison, talk to any NYCFC fan outside of a few that are very upset right now. There's no one that I think has a negative thing to say about her or him. They both were model citizens, rep the league hard. Deborah Harrison, what an incredible mom. And she was like, you guys are so funny. You need a TV show. And I'm like, can you be our manager? She's just a sweetheart. So this is huge for her.
And we kind of have a TV show.
Yeah, I mean, look, Deborah.
We need we need a giant contract that pays a ton of money, but we're almost there. We're halfway
well,
there.
Deborah, now that you're in Europe, talk to those people. See if they'll pay us.
Get us on Soccer AM.
Yeah,
we can host that show.
I'll wear my ponytail wig.
So yeah, again, get him like. On a personal level, yeah, gonna miss the dude, and I hope all the best. Light it up in the championship. Let him know how Major League Soccer players do it.
Yeah,
and do
it for the culture.
And if you see Jimmy Bullard in the stand, just kick a ball right in his face,
right at him, or Eric Compton of that dude, and just straight chest kick him while you're wearing your cleats.
All right, so just a couple other last thing. New York Red Bulls. Disappointing news: a player not arriving.
From Huracan.
Argentinian player Kaku. That's his nickname. His full name is Alejandro Romero Gamarra. But he was a very talented midfielder, young. He was 22 years old. And it was looking like this picture right now, this screen cap is from MLSsoccer.com. And this was this was tweeted out December 23rd. And basically, negotiations are done. He's coming to the club.
Well, as early as Monday, Red Bull had sent him a training schedule because it's like, I know you're not here, but here's what you should be doing. And he was supposedly...
Put this in your iCal because you're going to need it when you arrive.
Yeah. I need you to do this when you ain't here, and we're going to be monitoring what's up. And, this looked like it was close to done. And I feel like it's too late for them to now try elsewhere.
Well, today is the final day of the transfer window, so there's nothing that can be done after that.
Yeah, so I don't know if they had a backup. I don't know if they were talking to a second team or a second player or something that could be.
And then this was the latest article from a publication in Argentina, and then just the title is El Kaku así no se va. So apparently the issue, according to this article, was just like that the transfer was too complicated. I imagine it's as simple as like, we wanted this much money, and they were not giving us this kind of money.
Well, I think a big thing, and I think you saw this now with a lot of the transfers that were happening, and we're going to see it a lot more. It's like this team owns 70% of this player. This team owns 80% of this player.
Yeah.
You don't actually wholeheartedly own that player, which is just a way for the teams that are selling him to recoup more money in the future because, the South American leagues, they're like, no, we want to sell them to Europe. That's how we make our money. So you're coming in before they're fully developed and full value, and you're getting them at a discount.
Don't try to out South American me.
Right.
I'm already South American.
We're so South American. How dare you come down here and try to reach South America? So it's
you can't play a player.
Yeah. It's like like people that buy condos at like phase 1 before they're built. And they're like, no, we want to sell for the full value. Sometimes you have to sell early just to make up some of your money when you have all these other condos. Same thing with all these other players. It looked like they really didn't want to let this player go. So it's a shame. I feel bad for Red Bull fans. They are flipping out. It's not Ali Curtis. I can't remember the guy's name who's the GM now. But people are furious.
Well, especially with a couple weeks of certainty. And then you move Sasha Kljestan. This guy seems to be the replacement.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, well, no, it's not going to happen. And in the article, in the Argentinian one, they were saying that it was very vague and it was very complicated with all the lawyers. Just like a weird way to phrase it, which is like, well, you know what you're doing, right? I mean, they know what they're doing. So
you've sold players before, right?
You've dealt with lawyers.
That's what I want. I want one guy to walk in. He's got some wine. We sit down, we talk, we shake hands, no paper.
It really sounds like, I just wanted to do a handshake, and this guy bring me a mountain of paperwork.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what all this is.
I threw it off the table. We do this the right way or no way at all. Oh, sorry about that. I hit the escape button.
No worries. So whatever. I mean, this is the last slide.
Yeah, but one of the things that I like to say, because of the firestorm that the Rebel fans have, put out on Twitter, Mark Fishkin posted a snippet that I was not aware of. Since 2009, MLS has had an office in Buenos Aires.
Okay.
Right? I didn't know that. So we're out here trying to find these South American players. Here's something else I suggest. Let us go to this office, man. Fly us out to this office.
Chill at this office. Hang out.
I don't know. Get a little asado.
Meet some of these prospects.
Man, I need to shake some hands with El Kaku, El Kaká. Cuckoo, all of them. I want to shake hands with everyone.
Chupacabra, lo que sea.
Chupacabra, anybody.
So, look, the Rebels have literally till today to figure out if they want to bring in a foreign player.
Good luck, buddy.
But it's looking like this might be a scary season for them.
Yeah, or maybe they have youth players that are just as good that can cover that we didn't know about.
Just 11 Tyler Adams is. All right, everybody. That is it. That is the end of today's show.
I do want to say one more time. You're listening to this. You listen to the whole thing. Thank you so much. Go straight to our YouTube channel and watch this video. We have pumped a lot of, a lot of our availability into getting this thing done. It took a lot of back and forth.
Yes.
We want to thank Tommy McNamara for taking the time. We want to thank his management team for seeing the potential behind this. We want to thank Lombardi's Pizza. We want to thank Scars. Scars, shouts to you, my homie. Thank you so much for the opportunity to let us shoot in your location for free. That was huge. We paid for the pizza, though. JJ don't play. And also, huge thanks to Mike Kurtz and the team over at Mike's Hot Honey. It's because of you that this had better editors. So thank you so much. And we want everyone to try Mike's Hot Honey. We're going to be talking about it. One of the commercials might have been from Mike's Hot Honey. One of the breaks, I should say, we might have talked about it. But we want you to go out and try Mike's Hot Honey. Go to a pizza shop that has Mike's Hot Honey. If you don't know where to go to Scars. Go to Tony Baloney's in Hoboken. Go to Paulie G's. They're the ones where it was invented in that kitchen. Go try Mike's Hot Honey.
Paulie G's the icy, right?
Definitely not.
He's
going to be so upset you said that. Paulie G's, they have one in Baltimore. They have one in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh.
Yeah, in the short north.
And they're staying there.
Oh, yeah. They're not going anywhere. They're up there in the short north. Go try them out. Go try the Hellboy if they got it. That's the pie that Mike's Hot Honey was even invented for. There's one in Miami. Go to the Paulie G's in Miami. Now that they have a team, go try them out as well. Southern Legion, if you're listening to this. Beckham, if you're listening to this.
Yeah, Beckham, he listens regularly.
Yeah, his favorite pizza is Lucali, which I'm not going to say anything about because that gentleman has been around Brooklyn for a very long time. I'll just say that. I have a lot of respect to him, but try, Mike's Hot Honey in other locations. And Scars has it as well. So, which you'll see in the video. So please go watch that video. It would mean the world to us.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you again for listening to this show. Make sure again you go to iTunes, and if you're listening to this on iTunes, you're right now. If you're on your phone, you're on the subway. Go to iTunes and leave a review of the show. We're climbing up in the rankings. When you type soccer in iTunes, we're like 18th.
Come on, son. We were like 700, so we're getting there.
All right, we're climbing. We're trying to get up there. So as soon as someone looks up soccer, they're gonna be like, "Oh, who are these? The Cooligans?"
Yeah, and we say this all the time. It's our fans, whether you want to email us math or not. It's whether you agree with us or not. Our fans is what gets us to this point. So you guys telling your friends about it. I know you're all doing it. You guys subscribing, you guys putting 5 stars, you guys doing all that. It means the absolute world to us. It's the only way we're growing. It has nothing to do with anything else besides you guys. So thank you so much.
Thank you. You guys are the absolute best. I appreciate you. I love you.
I love you.
Yeah, we don't say that enough because
love you.
We grew up in houses with where we weren't really allowed to show much emotion and affection.
No emotion.
But we do. I mean, the last couple, even like the last 3 months, it's just been nuts, man. Thank you so much we have way more listeners, and it's been very, very motivating and inspiring. So thank you to you guys. So again, my name is Christian Polanco.
My name is Alexis Guerrero. And together, what are we? The Cooligans!